Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Covenant Cast. I am Steven.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we've got the brothers on patrol
We're
today
here.
in the cast. And today we're going to be answering some questions about Godtear, some World Cup predictions, Arkham and its status in our lineup, and then what we thought was maybe deficient in the old podcast, as well as a bunch of news and more. So stay tuned. All right, well, guys, let's get started with some answers from last week because those are really what I come to the podcast to hear.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm here.
Ben Davies, Ask Covenant, said, I think the two-person format works really well. It's easier to follow conversations and thought processes from a viewer's standpoint, and it feels like you're both more engaged throughout the show.
Excellent.
Now, before I even read further, there was a lot of great positive feedback on this.
Feedback. We were actually not expecting. I don't know if we should lift the curtain back too much. We were not expecting that.
Well,
anytime there's change,
it's fine to lift the curtain back.
There's resistance to change.
The internet
usually.
can be a cold, dark place from time to time, and so it was nice to see this just worked. That's unusual.
That's nice.
Thanks for sharing that with us, everybody who did so, especially Ben, because we're reading your answer and we'll continue to do so. On the flip side, I'd hate to see the rest of the team fade from the public eye, as everyone we see and hear from has quite distinctive views, and that keeps content fresh and interesting for me. Lo and behold,
That's
Jonathan,
right. I got my old balding head.
Your old. The old balding head of Jonathan is here.
Just want to paint a picture for the people who just listen on the audio.
That's right.
I'm losing my hair.
We're all just getting older. As far as events go, and this is the question we asked, was what is your deciding factor when going to an event or not, especially one that's outside of your zone of usual event going?
Is that a technical term?
My favorite item in D&D, yeah. As far as events go, I live 300 kilometers from the nearest city. There's 200 people in my town. So Destiny is something I've literally only ever played with my partner on our kitchen table. Oh. Amazing the amount of people who that is true for, and something that is not understood enough. Travel is a huge factor for me, but if I see something exciting happening over a weekend and I can come up with an excuse to get the family in the car, I'll be there. Ben, using kilometers, does that mean European or Australian?
Oh, interesting.
Or GB, or Great Britain?
I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say Australia because I don't think that there's any city center that is 200 kilometers away from another city center.
That's true.
300 kilometers away in Britain.
I believe that.
Maybe not.
Is the UK separate from Europe, right? Especially now.
Well, yeah, especially now. I actually got this wrong. I was talking to a real British person the other day, and I completely misunderstood what the UK is. But it is England and some other stuff.
Ireland,
if you're parts of Ireland,
and
all of Scotland. Yeah, they're the United Kingdom. And it goes back, and there's a lot of very strong opinions.
Oh, yeah. The history there on that entire place is insane.
Yeah.
And our U.S. history doesn't exactly cover it as well as it should.
That's true.
Can you cover old Eoin McManus here?
I could, especially after you pronounce his name, because I wasn't going
to
be
Eoin?
able to.
I'm not sure.
Who might go along with me is the biggest factor, right? It doesn't matter where you are, it matters who you're with. I have found, he didn't say that, I did. I have found the best part is the shared experience of an event with somebody you already know and game with. I love meeting new people at events, but they will rarely, parentheses, on the day you meet them, be the people you talk to late into the night with a beer in hand, recalling the highs and lows of the day. Nor will they be the person that you're riding back with.
That's true.
Recalling the highs and lows of the tournament.
The deck that you brought that you shouldn't have, or the last minute change that was the MVP.
I was like the person that you're in the car with, convincing yourself to completely remake your deck on the way to the tournament. That's who you're wanting.
Their job.
That's who you want to get.
That's their job.
Although I will say, a lot of times, and this is one of the great things about tabletop games, is the people that you meet can be the people you go and have a beer with, and I know we try to do that here at the store, is get those people back because you've had this big, long shared experience of the tournament, and it's a really cool way to cement those sorts of relationships.
You also, you might not hit it the first time, like when you're there, but the second or third time that you're at an event with somebody who was new and now they're a known quantity, and now you're messaging each other on Facebook or texting each other if you've exchanged digits to see, hey, are you going to that regional again? Or hey, you're going to be at Gen Con again? And that's really how these long-term relationships form.
I've got a quick story, a quick college story. Bring it on. I literally...
PG podcast.
PG. Whenever I was in college, I was walking to class, and I would always be walking to class the same time a guy was walking back from class.
Like the same guy?
Same guy.
Just a guy.
And so the first time that's curious. And the fifth time, it's like, there's is that same guy. And the 10th time is like nod to him. The 20th time, like saying hello, and then, oh man, how you doing, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually, he invites me to come and go to a party of his, and we sort of hit it off. And that's just that repeat random encounters is one of the key components to friendship, according to some Poindexter
that you read a long time ago.
I read a long time ago. It's an old, I think, New York Times story. Anyhow, but repeated random encounters, and that's one of the things that these tournaments are good for as well. Is you just look at somebody. You have that experience. You can't not look at them across the table.
Right.
The second time it happens, the third time it happens, and by the fourth time, you are having a beer.
You think about the number of people that have come consistently to like our Tulsa regional events and whatnot that we've seen. Like Dodd comes to mind, right? And Jeff and these guys, and just like, man, I didn't know you at all the first time.
Yeah.
And then it's like by the 20th time,
right.
It's like, hey.
Exactly.
Just get some lunch.
And I think that's one of the big things, just putting just 1 cent into that bank is better than nothing at all. And so if you see them and you keep doing that, eventually you'll build up enough repertoire for a friendship, real friendship.
That's right, you can cash out at any
moment. And then you
moment.
can come to any tournament you want to because you know everybody.
Sal V, the last answer here. Some realistic factors have to be how far do I have to travel? If it's reasonably close, then an additional factor is which of my friends can come along. So distance, and are your friends going or not? Those seem to be the recurring themes. I rarely go to an event solo, but a changing factor to the previous ones can be the price, support, and event. So it can be lured into the experience. I guess that's why we do it. Regardless of distance or who comes with me. I've gone solo to an event that had very unique or sought-after swag. I love alt art cards or FFG spot gloss plastic cards. They're a real draw for me. So market research says...
Spot gloss.
Try to be as close to as many people as possible.
Right.
If you're holding an event, that's a given. Number 2 is try to convince, or maybe we should start doing like carpooling incentives. Perhaps, you buy 3 tickets, get a 4th one free kind of thing, and then...
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, let's start doing that.
Come on in, and
you can have that advice for free. And then, if not that, if all else fails, then do some beautiful...
Cool prizes.
And then you might get some solo people who would not otherwise have come. At least you would get salvage.
Yeah, I think there are ways to look at that and really draw some conclusions. I don't know what they are yet, but I mean, you have the raw data now.
Let's run down some news. Jonathan, this is kind of a new thing that we're doing on the cast, the ever-evolving podcast format. I feel like there's actually there's been a bit of a vacuum for news related to at least the games that we're primarily interested in, the FFG sphere of things, as well as now getting into Godtear and some other companies that we got our eyes on. And that is a shame.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do our best, and maybe it's not often. It's not done that often because it's not that easy to figure out exactly what's going on. The upcoming page on the FFG site is
confusing.
Not the greatest.
Right.
And you have things like Labyrinth and Lunacy that just go totally haywire. So at least what we can do is get all the information that we have from looking at the website and looking at forums and looking at various things, and then bring that to the podcast and take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
And I think it is sort of a nice service. I know if I was on the outside looking in, we're juiced into this stuff because we have to be because it's our job, and I think that a lot of people don't have that luxury and would like to know more. That's why the upcoming page is so popular on FFG site, as broken as it is.
We know. From what we know.
From what we know. But so, I think that's really good. And also I think it's really apt, again, that our logo is a phoenix, because for those of our longtime fans that remember, there used to be a product update every week with Robert.
With Robert.
Back in 14. It's like
95,
this stuff is starting to get
94.
away from me now. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
You're balding now.
I know, because I had hair back then. I think it's great. And I actually think there's some really exciting stuff this week in the news. So get us started.
I'm going to run it down, and I'm just going to run down pretty quickly off the bat.
Boom.
So first of all, L5R players, you need to know some very important things. One, multiplayer rules were introduced, and I have not had a chance to look at them yet. And I wanted to before I came on the podcast, but this GDPR stuff is killing me. So I didn't have a chance to do it. But L5R multiplayer, the rules are officially here. So check those out. That is on the FFG homepage right now. While you're there, be sure to check out the updated rules reference. There is now a restricted list for L5R. It introduced 8 cards to the restricted list, and now a restricted list, of course, for those who haven't been a part of this before. Any card on that restricted list, if you take it in your deck, you cannot take any of the other restricted cards. So it doesn't ban anything, but it means that you can't use more than one of the powerful cards on the list, which I think is a fine solution.
I think that's fine.
And it's been the FFG standard. I think it's been their most successful tool for their LCGs. And important things to note, if you don't have time to check, here are your 8 cards that are restricted. Policy Debate.
Okay.
Miramoto's Fury,
All right.
of course.
Yeah.
Forged Edict. Charge, of course. Iron Mine. For Greater Glory. Against the Waves. Watch out, Shugenja. And Pathfinder's Blade. Watch out, Shugenja is not a restricted card. That was my own commentary. Pathfinder's Blade, which I believe is a secret-only card, which is a little bit awkward and weird.
Okay.
So those are the 8 cards. So all L5R players, check out your multiplayer rules, and then also check out those restricted cards.
Seems like good choices.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly.
I am in no position to comment extensively on the competitive scene for L5R. I have not been a part of that at all. In fact, I did the learning series, play some casual games from time to time. L5R is not my competitive game.
Yeah, I will tell you that some of those, and I very similar. I have played just a few times, not a few times. I played a little bit, and I remember those cards, and in my mind, there's a bookmark next to them, and it's like, unfortunate. And so it's nice to see that they are looking after that. And it seems they're really crafting it to what they want to be. Speaking of that, they have a new 6-pack 6 weeks.
Well, that's been going on. They officially announced it, and then they previewed the first cycle. But the long story short is that 6-pack 6 weeks format is the standard.
Yes.
For L5R. We talked about that a little bit last week, and this week it's like definitely cemented into the reality of L5R. 6 packs, 6 weeks is the shotgun format that they're trying.
And maybe
for here.
Maybe it is like I think you guys were talking about this last week, like more like a Westworld or a thing where it's like you get your season. You have fun with the season, you think about it for a while, you put it away, and then, oh my gosh, it's a whole new season with a lot more exciting stuff.
I think it may as well try it.
Yeah, why
honestly.
not? And speaking of exciting stuff, if you guys haven't seen the preview for the L5R cycle, first of all, it's all about elements, and it's awesome. There's a ton of neutral cards.
I love elements.
And they're great, yes. So let me tell you.
The classic one, like the metal and wood?
No. The elements of L5R.
Okay. The rings.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got the Ratmen, which I know a lot of people are talking about.
Yes.
They've wanted the Ratmen since the beginning. That's cool.
Okay.
There's one they previewed that'll raise or lower the strength of the province you're attacking, which is interesting.
That seems like a rat thing to do.
There's Mantis Clan. There's now coming through in neutral cards, basically like trying to cement their place of this. That story is starting. But there is some really cool water stuff, and this is I wrote it down just to tell you. There's a Sahuagin-esque race, and the one
Frog
they previewed.
People? Like the old movie,
the old
horror
movie. Yeah, those kind of people.
That kind of thing. Well, that's kind of a
Creature from the Black
thing.
Lagoon. Yeah, that's froggish.
It's froggy.
That's not an amphibian though. I think it's more aquatic. I guess it is an amphibian because they can breathe
Both.
air. Yeah, science. Here's the ability on this guy is that you can put him in during your conflict phase.
Okay.
If the conflict is a water conflict.
Do we know it's a he?
Could
be a he or she.
Yeah, it's whatever. You can put it in during it. So if it's a water conflict.
Okay, got the ring.
The water creature shows up. Oh, I'm a water creature. If you do it that way, then once the conflict is over, he goes back into your conflict pile, the deck.
So
over and over again.
Okay, so a free water surprise.
Yeah, but it's like you're messing around with the water and you get a little water surprise. I think it's super cool.
That's great.
I really like what they're doing with it. I am much more a fan of the elements than the Imperial shenanigans. That's me personally, but there's some really, really cool elemental stuff that they're doing. So, and a lot of neutral cards. So we'll see how that whole thing works out.
All right, bring it on. I mean, neutral cards are the way to go in that game. When you have that many clans, you got to get playable cards in the format as quickly as possible.
I agree.
Over on the X-Wing front, of course, everybody's still on the post-second edition celebration / hangover.
Shake it all out,
Yeah, trying to figure out what's going on. On that note, I think there was a pretty great little addition to the information cycle of second edition, and that was the designers, Davey and Frank and Max. They were doing the live stream. I think they were all three there. Live stream of the conversion kit, like showing off what's in a conversion kit. And I feel like that was a really important move. Probably should, in hindsight's 1,000,020. But that was one of the key sticking points, I think, early on the reaction to second edition, which was the cost of a conversion kit, the necessity for a conversion kit for your old ships, and why does it cost so much, and why do I need to pay for the fix for the mistake.
Right.
And mistake is a questionable term in terms of first to second edition.
It's one of those things that like, and there eventually someone will create a word for this, but it's like, it's one of those arguments that seems really sound when you read it on social media, but like the more you think about it, it's like, wait a second, like this is just one of those things that like it's like a hammer blow, but there's really nothing behind it.
Okay, it's just like a bad argument.
Well, yeah, but it's a bad
rhetoric.
It's a bad argument that sounds great.
Yeah, there's so many of those.
I know. I've seen them more.
Life is composed of them. So anyway, busting out all these contents, leaving a lot of things still yet to be spoiled, but the amount of content that was shown off, and I think the reality of, wow, there is like an incredible amount of stuff in here, and it's all happening at once, and all of these old ships are going to get a facelift, and it's going to be pretty extensive.
It's going to make them playable, all of them.
I do, yes, and I do feel like that there was a lot more positive reaction to that than some of the earlier kind of like negative reactions to the idea of converting old ships. So maybe showing off the actual content in those conversion kits has helped to show X-Wing players that you're really getting a lot for the price of the conversion kit. And I'm sure that, the fence is still, you can still be on either side of it, but at least you have a little bit more concrete understanding of what exactly you're getting for the $50 conversion kit and whether or not that's worth it to you. So you have a much better understanding of whether or not that's the money you want to spend. They also did an action article, just a quick, here's some actions in second edition. We've got some red actions now that automatically cause stress. We've got some linked actions. So you guys should check that out if you're into X-Wing. Also worth noting, all the prizes, Nationals, Regionals, and North American Championship have been announced for all of those FFG games.
Wow.
Nationals prizes introducing primarily like a new thing for most of their lines, a top 4 little icon and logo. I don't remember seeing that in the past.
Okay.
And these Nationals, remember, are being held in different places. So like all the Star Wars Nationals, at least that I saw, are at the Nova Open, which is cool that it's all collected there. They've done great work with the Nova Open. And then like the Game of Thrones one is up at Metagames in Springfield, which is crazy.
Nice,
it's cool.
That's great.
Just a big national championship up there. And then the Netrunner one's in Seattle, Washington at a store that I wish that I could remember. I'll remember that for next time. But it's spread out across the country, right? So it's just like, Nationals they're trying to kind of hit different pockets of players. And I think that's a really good way to do it.
That's really cool.
Other things that are going on. Listen to this.
All right.
Check this out.
I'm ready. Strapped in.
A 5-day Kickstarter. Get it. Just get a hold of that.
I didn't even know that was a possibility. I thought there were rules. I thought there were rules on Kickstarter that you had a minimum of like 28 days or something.
This isn't Nom, Jonathan. There are rules, but
things are changing.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, the times.
I believe I got this right. So I went around our lovely little office space here, and I said, anybody got any news that they heard? Anything going on? Because everyone's locked into kind of different little pockets of information. And Zach said, there's a 5-day Kickstarter going on that CMON is doing. And so I quickly Googled it and looked up their page, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is Arcadia Quest Riders, the Kickstarter for Arcadia Quest Riders, because in their little blurb it says a very short Kickstarter and we're trying something new. They didn't do any stretch goals, no fanciness, right? What they did instead was all of the backer rewards are first print United States, first print EU, first print Australia. And so if you back that, it's like $65, then you get in on the first printing in your country, right? So then you ship it to you, and they've got distribution centers in various places. CMON doing a good job on a lot of fronts. And then the games get distributed to you as a first print, and then I saw some second print starting to show up as well.
Okay.
So I think once those first prints sell out, they introduce a second print pledge, and then you get it later than on release, right?
And also, I mean, are they trying to appeal to the collectors here, like a first edition book kind of a thing? Do you think they're doing that, or is it mostly getting into your hands?
I think it's the exact same game. I think it's the exact same stuff. Do you think it's
like labeled somewhere, first print, first edition?
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, maybe. I think it's just a way to differentiate, like, it's going to be delivered later.
Okay.
So we're going to do the first printing, we're going to send those off, we're going to do a second printing, we're going to send those off. Cool. Or maybe it's a collector's thing. Well, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But the key thing here is that this is a 5-day thing.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's a 5-day thing. It's hard. I couldn't figure out when it started. I looked for like a couple of minutes, which is just me being bad at the internet. 5,000 people have backed it. $300,000 has been raised, and it's got 54 hours left to go. I think it started on Monday.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So whenever I was watching Godtear,
a lot of people like it, a lot of people hate it.
What happened? Yeah. Well, you know, whenever I was watching Godtear get funding, what happened is the very beginning, it shoots up for the first 5 days,
right,
and then it tapers off for the rest of it, and then it shoots up again on the last 2 days.
Yeah.
So there's a big section there where the guys at Steamforce were working very hard to generate buzz throughout this long dry spell that everyone knew would happen, but still a lot of people psychologically were like, oh no, it's over, the whole thing's done, no one likes us anymore.
Yeah, because they aren't gaining new backers.
Yeah, so maybe the data says, why don't we just get rid of this dry spell that no one is paying attention to this thing, compress everything at once where we're getting 95% of our pledges, and make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. See, so first of all, I don't think you should be able to back out of a Kickstarter pledge willy-nilly. Like, generally.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of people were like, I back it up front, but then I drop it, and then I'll wait and see until the very end, and then I'll
because I want the stretch goals.
Yeah, it's like weird. It's like weird. Like it should be like capital investment. Like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then you're charged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it funds, then you're charged.
Right.
So the other part of this, though, is this is just a no-risk pre-order system for CMON.
Yes.
And it has never been more that than a 5-day, literally, give us $65 before the game is printed. We make it, print it, and then send it to you. It's just a pre-order.
Yeah.
But they don't have to do any of the legwork before they start offering the pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
And how is this not the future of everything?
Yeah, well, and they can also utilize the reach of Kickstarter, which is substantial.
It is at this point.
Because whenever we were doing the L5R rings, we were doing basically our own little pre-order system, but we did on our site, and we were limited because of that.
Yeah.
Kickstarter has a way of getting in front of so many more people, and so you can market a lot easier that way.
That's actually a good question. So if we took the L5R rings to Kickstarter and said, boom, here it is. We'll run it for 30 days, and then we'll make that many rings, and we'll send them off. I wonder if we would have been way more successful with that. It was very successful for us, for what we were expecting, but would it have been 3 times more?
Yeah.
4 times more?
Hashtag askcovenant.
Would it have been worth the 10%, I think it's like 10% Kickstarter?
Yeah, do you think
off the
that it
top?
would have been...
I don't know. There's something that just feels cheating about it.
It does feel cheating, but then again, it's the trusted platform mentality where it's like, I will buy this off Kickstarter because I recognize it, I'm comfortable moving around in it, I'm comfortable browsing it. In fact, people go to a very few amount of sites online, and you can potentially get it in front of a lot of people because our site assuredly has less traffic than Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Especially Kickstarter.
For now. You're the guy that bought the life jacket off of that thing, or that?
Yeah, I did. A spy jacket. I love that thing. I bought some really weird stuff off there. It's all been great though.
Give me the last news item. Godtear. Do we have any news on Godtear? Because I'm following along from a distance, but I know that you are embedded in it.
Yes, I am embedded.
Our first question is Godtear related too, so I will get into that right after. Is there any new updates this week on Godtear?
There is. In fact, by the time this goes live, there will have already been a new update. And
what? How do you know that?
On they've been updating every Thursday. It's the greatest thing in the world. Oh my gosh, I look forward to it every week.
So we're recording on Wednesday, and then they're going to update tomorrow, and then we're going to be like, here's the newest Godtear update, and it's going to be a week behind.
A week behind. It's going to be all for nothing. But no, here's a couple of deals. First of all, every Thursday update is fantastic, and I love it, and it really does generate a lot of excitement for the people who are paying attention.
So every Thursday, you're like, I'm checking.
Yeah, I'm checking, and who knows what? Last Thursday they released Quest, which is the new scenario.
Yeah.
And I have just been astounded by the amount of versatility they've been able to get out of these scenarios, which I thought was the most limiting part, but I am wrong.
No, you can do anything.
They're cranking it.
Just making maps.
And they're doing all of their scenarios based on the pantheon of god tiers. So there is knowledge, which is the god of knowledge. The god tier of knowledge is what it does. There is death, which is the god tier of death. There is some other stuff. And then quest is this one. And the interesting part about this, there are 2 interesting parts. This is the first time that we've seen you only claim points for capturing certain god tiers. So
so putting your banner down a certain place.
Yep, there are like 4. It starts off 4 objective hexes on your side, 4 objective hexes on your opponent's side. You claim your opponent's side hexes, they claim your side. So everyone meets in the middle.
Yes, of course.
And then also this one has the battle ladder, which is a thing in Godtear where that's how you do the slider of points. And the stoppers, the high and low end of each battle ladder have been cheated in by 2, which I'm pretty sure, and if anyone knows the rules better than I do, I'm pretty sure that just stops your progression.
Interesting.
So that means
Does that also mean where you start your marker? Do you start it at a different place?
You start it in the middle still.
Okay.
But now instead of there being, let's say, 10 steps, although I didn't count, there are 8 steps. So if you get to 8, that's as far as you can go, I think. And then if your opponent now gets 9 somehow in a last minute, here we go,
Now
then
that's
they can come back. So it's a little bit tighter, and I think it's really cool.
So basically it prevents like runaway conditions where like somebody really early gets 10 points and then the opponent's like, I can never catch up.
That is my understanding at the point. Now, another big part, and this is for you guys playing along at home, is that it used to be whenever your champion was killed, their banner would disappear.
Right.
Now, when your champion is killed, the banner stays.
That's correct, because otherwise Slayers are a little too good, aren't they?
Because they basically changed it to where you can only place the banner in the first phase, which is the strategy phase, and then they stop people really just wreck them in the next phase.
Just wreck the champions, and then you don't have to worry about it.
But now you can place it, and then you can defend it or defend your people a little bit better. It can still be crushed, but if you die, then your banner doesn't die.
All right, well that makes
it's all very exciting.
Makes all the sense. Let's do a quick roundup for our personal lives real quick.
Did we talk about L5R? LOTR?
Oh no, the Wilds of Ravinion. That's another cool thing. So Caleb wrote an article on that, which was awesome.
The art, I gotta say, the art is fantastic. Yeah. Goodness gracious, the art is fantastic.
This is like Lord of the Rings is like the Energizer Bunny of LCGs.
I'm
It
amazed
just doesn't
by it.
stop.
No, I'm amazed.
Just doesn't stop.
They have been able to get so much versatility out of that system. It is a credit to Caleb and Matt and Nate, who was one of the original developers on the mechanics.
On the board. And this one features the Dale trait, so it's,
if you're into Dales,
get excited about Dales. All right, so let's round up what we're into this week. So I got to tell you, this is a long time coming, and it needed to happen, and it needs to happen in the U.S. as well. But the EU passed the GDPR data protection regulations. And what that essentially means for practical purposes is that everybody who has a website begins to scramble to get up to speed on that. So you got to privacy policy, you've got to have your cookie consent notification on your site, basically saying, hey, we're tracking these activities, and we're doing it because, honestly, if you weren't doing that, you would have no idea who was using, or how people were using your website. We don't have the who, we can't identify the people, but we can say there was a session that was tracked from your homepage, and then they clicked on this thing, and that took them to the store page, and they clicked on this thing, they added this to their cart, and then they left. And you're like, oh no, they left.
Why'd they leave?
And so we can then use that to say, oh, well, everybody who's going to this page or that page is leaving. That means there's probably something wrong with that page. We need to redesign it or look at the UI. So most websites that are worth anything are doing that because they have a genuine interest in improving the user experience, right? And that's the best way to do it. So you have to outline all of that, why you're collecting data and who you're collecting it from and how they can purge it and how they can request copies of it and all that kind of stuff. So that has been a random kind of week-long enterprise for Covenant, which I've been doing a lot of that, just tying up all the bows around that. So anybody who is curious about that, we are up to date at this point. We're up to speed, and obviously we're young enough, I would say, that we care a lot about data, and we understand the internet and things and how it can get weird and how you can be tracking way too much and all those kinds of things. So we do take data very seriously, and I think personally we're very much into privacy. You especially, you may as well throw a cell phone in the pond and start shooting at drones, but
he's not wrong.
I'm a little more open to it, but that's a big concern for us, and we take it very seriously, and I've worked with our host as well to make sure that it's all in place. So that's been a big pursuit this week, and then also went over to had a little LAN party with Robert this weekend.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah, we did.
Little old school LAN party.
And it's hot in Oklahoma.
It is.
Sucks. It really does.
It's supposed to be spring, but I think we're 8 degrees warmer on average already this
It feels
this
like
season.
it. It's May and it's hot, and I don't
sucks.
like it, and my house is not great in the heat. It just doesn't have... They took that, when they started running it, they added a room, didn't change the AC unit, which was already underpowered, I feel like, and it's a disaster. So that's a bummer for me, but it does mean that I went to Robert's and we played Divinity Original Sin 2, which is an incredible RPG.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Super fun.
I've just watched it, but it looks great. I love the art style.
And then we, of course, played some Bourbonog Tower Defense, and we beat it, by the way. Did you know that?
Oh, no.
First try, 2
really?
people, we knocked it out of the park on hard.
What elements were you playing?
I started with Earth. I went Earth Poison, and he went Ice. What was it? Something ice. Oh, it was a really cool start. I don't remember what it was. But we wrecked it.
Nice.
It was amazing, man. And so we're going to take it to professional next time.
I think so, yeah.
But we took the strategy of building in the other two corners.
Yeah, the old free market.
And you have to have poison and ice doing work the whole time. So that's key. And we also went for a swim. He's got a little community pool in the apartment. So, you play some computer games, you go jump in the pool. It's a little apartment, so it's very cool in there. And it was really a lot of fun.
Nice.
Really cool thing.
That sounds great. I did none of that.
Yeah, well.
I don't even remember what I did this weekend. So, I went to Edmond to a baby shower, which is traditionally not a male thing to do.
Yeah, well, we're changing things all the time in our society.
But my friend's about to have a child, and he was there.
Yeah,
and so I went there for moral, bro support.
Okay.
And so it was certainly interesting.
Was there a lot of
tiny sandwiches?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were. There were a lot of tiny sandwiches and vegetables.
There's no need to look past tradition. Just stick to what works.
That's the thing. There were tiny croissants, and you put your chicken salad in there, and it had grapes and a bunch of random stuff in there.
Fruits.
And then they had snap peas and carrots. Which is great. I mean,
it's honestly, fine. It's not great. It's fine.
I'll tell you a quick story.
It's not great.
And this is just sort of highlights the thing. I'm not I think both sections have a lot to learn from each other. But there was one time when Steve and I's wives were having a party for some of their female friends.
Yeah. Was it a baby shower?
No, it was like an oil thing, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So
we struck crude.
Yeah, so they were doing that, but at the same time we were not invited, so we were over. This is when Steve and I lived next to each other, and we were over in Steve when he lived in just a shack.
Yeah, literally.
Literally a shack, and so we are over there, and we're just awful. And then we go over.
What does awful mean?
Well, there's
we're just laying around.
We're just laying around,
doing nothing, drinking some beers,
drinking beers, eating meat, just barbarian stuff. And then I had helped my wife set up, and they got low-fat pizzas and candles.
What?
Those were the things that they wanted. And I went over there because I needed to get something, and it smelled amazing, and everyone was having a lovely time. And then I went back to the cave over where Steve was. I was there are two different ways of doing it. And I like both. I definitely liked eating the vegetables and all that stuff. Other than that, we still have a dog. He's great. He threw up in my wife's car, and he gets up at the exact opposite time that I do, so I'm very, very tired. I'm trying to hold it together.
Your bar for greatness must be incredibly low.
Well, so here's the deal with the dog.
He's great, and here are all the reasons that he's not great.
Let me tell you about the dog. The dog is going to be a fantastic long-term investment, but he is an awful short-term investment, which is kind of where I like to be most of the time. But still, it's an adjustment, man. It's an adjustment.
Sounds like marriage, am I right?
So that's my life. Well, yeah, hey, good. So if it's a good long-term investment, that's what you want it to be. The good short-term, bad long-term is not.
That's no good. That's not how you build a good business either.
That's right. That was going to say. That's a covenant, marriage, dogs. It's sort of how
marriage is a good investment, no matter what. It's a great investment. We love our wives and everyone involved. Okay, let's talk about these questions. Everyone involved makes it sound like there's a lot of people involved. There's only 2 people involved.
Well, I mean, we asked the audience,
friends,
hey, make sure that we keep this marriage up. So you guys are implicated too.
All right. Yeah, it's like the thing at the wedding. You're basically all like, hey, look after this. Make sure we don't lose
This is a real institution.
You can use the hashtag askcovenant on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or anywhere hashtags are sold. And we will answer your question, and that is what we're doing here today. We've got a couple of questions from the audience now. Podcast crew, iTunes crew, you're not looking at us right now. I'm looking into the camera. You can't see that because you're listening in your car probably, or maybe at your house. It's a lot harder for you guys to interact with us, but we would love it if you would make the effort to do so anyway. So if you're listening to this right now, take a quick break from what you're doing, unless you're driving. Focus on that.
Yep.
Make a note to get on anything, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Throw a hashtag askcovenant down there, and we'll answer your questions because we often have to essentially spend a lot of time on YouTube getting questions because it's easier to interact on that platform. But we want to hear from everybody, so come on in and let us know. And let us know that you're a listener. Let us know that I don't interact with you on any platform aside from just listening to the cast. Here's my question. I'd love to know how many people...
Perhaps you were surprised that I'm losing my hair. Those are the people I want to talk to.
Who are these people? They've never even seen us before. Starting with Kaya Morgulis, one of my favorite names and contributor to the channel. Has anybody other than Jonathan played Godtear yet?
Good question.
And if so, what do you guys think of the feel of the game, as you clearly support the concepts behind the model? Love watching you guys learn to play videos, but I really think it would be awesome to see you play this one before it's even fully out.
Yikes.
Just to also get a look behind the scenes at what Jonathan is getting up to. If there's any chance we could see him teach another 2 people how to play, I'd love it. That'd be cool. At any rate, keep up the great coverage and reactions to X-Wing 2.0. It seems like it'll be more accessible than ever. So excited for pre-built squads. Thank you so much, Kaya Morgulis. It's always great to hear these kinds of positive comments. Truly makes a difference in our everyday life.
So the last,
I've played Godtear.
You played Godtear a while ago.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, and it
rules.
Again, evolving every week.
It was basically enough to say, yeah, this game probably has the goods. SFG isn't just talking. And
the foundations are
in.
strong.
Yeah, basically that's what it was. But we got to play, man.
Yeah.
We've got to play again.
We talked it. This is one of those things we talk about like every week, and then we don't do it.
It's because you and I are busy and tired.
All the time.
This is the problem with adult life, is that's nonsense.
Being busy and tired?
Yeah, we should take control of it, because it's like, busy doing what?
Right.
And tired why?
Yeah.
You
and
know?
Certainly, I mean,
those are things in our control.
The thing that I always get back is, what do we have to complain about?
No,
honestly?
we have nothing to complain about.
Like, there are people who are working like double shifts. Like, it really...
I've been doing something...
It makes me feel bad whenever
I've been doing something at night. So I oftentimes have trouble sleeping, which is kind of a new phenomenon. And I feel like it's a symptom of both caffeine consumption and being so in my head all day.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like literally every day on the job is think.
Yep. It's not manual, it's all mental.
And then you go home, and then it's just kind of like you close your eyes, and it's like, hey, all we know how to do is think. And so, there are some things like meditation and those kinds of exercises that can certainly help in that. But one thing I've been doing is just whenever I'm overstimulated, thinking at night, think about everything you're thankful for.
Oh, nice. That's great.
It's really nice.
That is really nice.
It has been a very positive, I guess, movement in my life so far.
Nice.
So I thought I would share that with anybody else who might be facing similar problems.
That is really cool.
Certainly frames your perspective a lot better.
Yeah.
Than just like spiraling.
I like that a great deal.
So to answer your question, Kaya, yes, we played some Godtear, but we haven't recently, and we should. We have actually some long-term content planned for Godtear, assuming that all works out. And maybe one of the featured games will be Jonathan teaching to other people how to play Godtear.
So here's one of the things that I did want to address about this comment is it was talking about, I think it'd be awesome to see you play one before it's even fully out. And we are a small company, and we have to make choices based on resources, right? It's all resource management around here.
Yeah, like your favorite board games.
Like your favorite board games. And the problem is that if we put our time, which would be Steven and I's time, or whoever's time, plus Ben's time editing, to make it up to standard, for a version of the game that is outdated within a week, it's not a great decision.
That makes sense.
However,
I agree with that.
It is certainly something that we're interested in doing, though the ROI would have to be there, right? We would have to. It'd have to be a thing that we could do. And there's a concept in journalism back in the day called evergreen content, which is, as you might imagine, content that is always good, and you can always come back to and is always sort of up to date. And so whenever we can get that with Godtear, I think it becomes a lot more appealing.
Yeah, whenever we get the final, like, hey, these are the rules we're going to launch with from like the early tests, then I think we can roll on it.
Yeah.
But then, the scenarios can change, and that's fine. I think as long as we can teach the fundamentals of the game, and that will be good for at least another year, presumably for the rest of time, then I'd be way into investing in that kind of content.
I will tell you, I have got such a bug for Godtear that I am doing that thing where you just like scour the internet looking for content.
Isn't that crazy how that happens?
Yeah, there are 2 guys that do a Glory Goals video every week, every time a new video comes out.
That is a really questionable name.
Glory Goals?
Yeah. I just think, it's like, are they going for that, or is that like
I think it was like a guild ball start.
Yeah.
They're British. Maybe it's a different thing over there.
No, that's probably intentional.
Anyhow, it's great. So I've been watching them every week, and it's been fantastic. I put them on my headphones, and that's sort of how I've been keeping up recently, as I have not had any time to play. Yep.
That reminds me of like Lebowski listening to the bowling soundtrack, like
Yep.
the sounds of bowling. Jonathan just listening to Godtear being played while he's working.
Not wrong.
Moving on to Sean Schneider. Hashtag askcovenant looks like it came from Facebook. Awesome pod. I've been listening from the beginning and look forward to every episode. You guys rock. Sean, that is too kind of you to say. Again, we truly do appreciate it. Question, the World Cup is a month away. Who are you guys rooting for? I'm hoping someone in TC is a soccer fan. Hashtag Team Germany.
Woo!
All right, so here's the thing. I'm a soccer fan.
I'm a fan of soccer.
I'm not the kind of, or should we say football?
Well, he said soccer.
Yeah, that's true. But, we have a worldwide audience.
That's true.
And we don't want to, although, Jasper said, our Belgian friend Jasper, he said that soccer was the best way to reference it because nobody's confused about what that means.
Ah.
If an American says football, you have no idea.
No one has any clue.
But if an American says soccer, you know they mean soccer.
All right. That
right?
makes sense.
There's no confusion there.
Sure.
Which is probably why the Europeans should adopt soccer so we don't have to keep having this problem.
And they should also do the imperial standard while they're at it.
Yeah, go ahead and go to inches. The greatest scheme on earth. I'm a huge fan of soccer. I get into the World Cup when it's happening, kind of like the Olympics, but I'm not watching the trials, as it were.
Right.
So I haven't been keeping up, Sean, and I apologize for that. I do know that the 4 teams to watch are Germany, Brazil, France, and Spain.
So you're thinking one of them is going to take it.
Well, I just look at the stats. I mean, this is just what everybody says. So Team Germany seems to be one of the best bets. Germany and Brazil are like the most favored, from what I understand, the teams. What about you? Are you a...
So I have 3 choices, and I have reasons for each choice.
Okay, well, that's good.
And again, like Steven, I'm not following it day by day. I wish I had more knowledge in the subject, but I know enough, and I love the game. So Brazil, I would love to see win just because they got so screwed over when Brazil hosted the World Cup.
That's true, man.
That was a heartbreaker. Belgium, because Jasper is from Belgium, we have sort of ties to Belgium, and they seem to be like, they have this thing called the Golden Generation that seems like it's maybe their time to strike if they're going to do it.
You can't drink that much beer and be good at sports.
That's a good point. And then Argentina, who is a long shot, but they got Messi, who I'm thinking of saying that right. But
as a player or as a concept? They got Messi,
as a player. And he basically reminds me, if you want to look at American football, he reminds me a lot of Barry Sanders.
Oh, I love that.
Which is a guy who has all the talent in the world, but just has never gotten the gold.
Like in a good, or on a good team, or just hasn't been recognized?
He's been recognized for everything except for a World Cup win.
Okay, so he needs the ring, basically.
And there's enough of a chance for Argentina to make it where it would be spectacular, and that would be the story. Okay. So I always like the underdogs, and I think that he's put in the time. So that would be those are my 3.
That's great, Sean. So thank you for the comment, and we certainly appreciate any questions, even if they're not gaming related. So cheers to that. Number 3, Grill Pain Man.
Grill Pain Man with the toast.
Grill Pain Man. Replying to Team Covenant, looks like on Twitter. Is that a Twitter thing or an Instagram thing? That could be an Instagram thing too. I don't know. Social media is hard, guys. Did you guys just give up on Arkham, the LCG?
Good ellipses reading there.
Thank you. Yeah. Man, reading is something I'm really into.
All right.
No, not at all. We've been. I think he or she means on the content front, because it's been a hot minute since we've done Arkham content. We launched the boards. We launched the new Doom token for the Forgotten Age cycle. Yep. We've got some more like on the product end for Arkham coming. But
it's gonna be great.
Grill Pain Man, you will be so happy to know that the week after this episode goes up, you are likely to see a full-on Arkham gameplay video with none other than Matthew Newman from Fantasy Flight Games, the lead designer of the game. That's something that we were able to record while we were there for Star Wars Worlds, and we did the new format that we've been talking about on the cast, where he and I are playing through Return to the Night of the Zealot, which is a cool thing too. We're using Forgotten Age investigators, and I'm giving him a light interview throughout. So,
pretty neat.
So far, it looks like it's turning out really well. Ben's been saying it's really good content, so I'm excited to get that out there. And yes, Arkham on the way. And we even, long in the distance, we continually are thinking about this Arkham Learning series and pushing that forward. So when the time is right, assuming that it will ever be right, we will strike on that as well. Yeah. We love Arkham.
I was going to say, you don't want to say which of your kids you love the most, but Arkham is like...
It's
I mean,
great.
that's the one that we probably find the most time to play.
And it's the secret hit in this entire LCG catalog. And nobody really the Arkham players aren't loud,
Right.
right? And that's great. That may be one of the best qualities. But there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them, and they're great. And I love I'm part of the Facebook group, and I get to participate there, and we play fairly often, Robert and I, with our friend Philip. And it's just, I just couldn't ask for more from that game.
And I will say I've been working on just a dream project for Arkham that hopefully you guys can see
it's going to
soon.
be awesome too. It really is.
So no, we haven't. We actually love it very much.
We love it very much.
You know, ROI. We got to do the things that
It's
keep the
ROI
lights
and it's
on.
time, and it's just like, and it's what's available, and I mean, there's just a million things. This is not, it's not a walk in the park, ultimately. Maybe that's why we're so tired all the time.
Yeah, that's probably a good place to start.
Question number 4, #askcovenant.
I like this one.
Podcast deficiencies from Adam Laturno.
You're good on those names.
Thank you. I got the words
Yeah, I got the pictures.
from the brain,
Yep.
from the brain genes. Nice to have you guys back. Great podcast as usual, which leads me to my question. I'm glad that you think that it's usually a great podcast. That's good. Good to know. I know that you guys are interested in pushing your format further and changing it for the future. Which is essentially what we're doing right now. But I'm curious to hear what you think are the current, or rather, what were the deficiencies in the format from the past. I've always enjoyed the aspect of picking a topic and conversing about it, as you've done in your first 54 casts, and while I dig the idea of incorporating the playing of a game in the discussions, I'm curious as to what you specifically feel needs to change to push the format further. Looking forward to seeing what is to come, though. Let me retry that.
Too.
Look forward to seeing what's to come, though.
Nice. That's good.
That sounded like yeah. Okay, so deficiencies. Let's talk deficiencies. So first of all, there's a lot of just feeling involved in content, and you feel this like staleness, and I can't explain it. And it just like you're participating in this thing that more and more you're having to convince yourself is worth doing rather than knowing it's worth doing.
Right.
So there's a feeling of drag that usually comes into content. Happened in unboxing videos. It happened to gameplay videos. And there's this kind of, is this actually adding the most value for the time being spent doing it? A lot of that comes from the mentality of jumping in and doing something, refining it as best you can, launching it, doing it for a while, and then kind of returning to it and saying, can we do it better? Should it be done differently? We're investing a lot of time in the old podcast. And obviously the viewership kind of hit what we felt was like its ceiling. We saw consistent numbers, downloads and views combined together, kind of a very consistent number, which is great. Hitting that audience and kind of getting to the point where you have the viewership that is consistent and stable, which is great. And that's generally all of you listening and watching.
Thank you for watching.
So thank you so very much. We're honored and privileged to be listened to at all. That's truly amazing. But then it's like, well, I mean, this is a pursuit that we want to go farther. We want to reach more people. We want to get more people involved in the hobby of tabletop gaming and in the podcast. So can we change things and do that? And that's when you start experimenting with, what is it that you can change? What are the variables you can play with? One of the variables is number of people on the cast. Cut one person out of the cast, you save an hour and a half of employee time, as it were. So that's a good start. If you cut out some of the planning in the podcast, that's another couple of hours. So now the return can be as it was or higher, just with less hours invested.
Yeah, so you can keep the same amount of audience, but still grow the returns.
Spend a little less time. And that's always a bet. Like in any business venture, you really should always be looking to cut down on those costs at all times. Right.
Start to seek efficiency once you sort of feel like you've got that.
Don't you? What's your 4-part plan to success?
Here's my 4-part plan to success, and it's been received very, very well, and I'm very.
This is going to be in the in the book 20 years from now.
I hope so.
And then brilliant designer Jonathan Woolley came in with this crazy plan, and it just took on the culture. And
so whenever you start anything new, there are 4 steps to mastery, basically.
Okay.
The first step is, can you do it? can I record a podcast?
Right.
Yeah, easy.
You got to get the equipment. You got to get the cameras. You don't even have to do the cameras technically.
That's true.
You got to have editing. You got to get an upload. You got to get an account to where
Yeah.
you can host the files, etc.
So we realized we could do it.
Yes.
And then the next thing is, can we do it well? And that's what we've started to, we've had some podcasts that are great. We've had some podcasts that are not as great. And on average, I think that's been rising. So we kind of decided, we can do this well. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, once you do it well one time, then you say, well, can I do this well consistently? So can I do it? Can I do it well? Can I do it consistently? So then you try to move that average up. It's like, we are consistently doing well. Mm-hmm. And then once you hit that, you hit the final stage, which is, can I do it well? Or can I do this well, consistently and efficiently?
There it
and
is.
So that's once you hit
mode,
peak,
dude.
like once you hit, like you've thrown all your resources into doing it well consistently, now you try to pull back those resources and see if you can still prop it up. It's kind of like building a building. You have that, the scaffolding, and then you bring the scaffolding down. It should stand up on its own.
Right. Yeah. That's so good, man. I really do think that's positive. But we actually do that to everything, don't we?
Yes, we do.
That's
constantly.
really great. So that gives you kind of an idea into the insight of we're just looking to experiment with how we can do this the best.
Mm-hmm. How we can reach the most people, how we can be a positive influence to the most people, and how
introduce the most people to the genre.
People.
Provide value where nobody else is providing value. Yeah. Find a niche that's going to appeal to a lot of people and actually give them something to look forward to on a weekly basis. And obviously, having a podcast that is successful and that has more people, it's ultimately there's a marketing purpose to all of this. Mm-hmm. A YouTube channel or a podcast or a newsletter list, an email list. These are all ways in which we can communicate directly with you guys, which is obviously very good for us. So if we have 1,000 Arkham players that are listening to the podcast, and we can say, hey, we've got a Forgotten Age Doom token, that might be the only way that you hear that message. Right. So modern business is all about getting all of these platforms as built up as they can be, so that if you have somebody who's only interested in audio and they don't check Facebook and they're not on your email list, you can still get information to them that is relevant to them and things that they might want to buy or content they might want to watch, those kinds of things, information that you want them to know. So we're just trying to do that on all of our platforms, right? The podcast is one of them. How can we make the emails for the newsletter better? How can we make our social media presence better, which is getting better? Yes. I'm really happy with how that's going. Bryce is a new person we've hired to really put energy into that, and it has been going exceedingly well. So, it's just, we're going to keep trying stuff. Yep. And we took the positive comments from last week, and we've implemented some changes here this week, and we're going to keep doing that. And a constant dialogue between us and you guys, our audience, is exactly what we're looking for. So please just let us know, and we'll be happy to take those thoughts and opinions into consideration. Yeah. And that's the cool thing about this now is, used to be 20 years ago, you couldn't really just ask your audience, your customers, what's going on? And now we can have real feedback going on, and that's really powerful. And I think businesses have to take advantage of that these days. If you want to do anything well, go out there and get the opinions and feedback of your audience.
You got to have an outside perspective. I tell the story constantly of whenever I used to do art back in high school, one of the things that I would do is I would hold it up to a mirror and look at it, because you get so close to stuff, you need those outside opinions to just calibrate your radar. Otherwise, you can get that mentality of just everything that I do is right, and you don't want to go.
You know where that goes. Yeah, that goes poorly. All right, well, I've got to actually get to a meeting.
Okay.
Which is funny. Yeah. Right. Welcome, corporate environment. It's so lame. But we're going to get out of here, guys. You can always use the hashtag askcovenant. Don't forget, that is the key. We literally go through all of our platforms, search for that hashtag, look at the past week's questions and answers, collect it for the podcast for the next week, and then that's how this thing comes together. So if you want anything answered, everything's on the table. You can ask anything, use that hashtag askcovenant. And there's a question that I have for you, speaking of the open, transparent feedback that we're looking for people. We're working on some tweaks, a big rebuild of the website, and one of the things that I keep looking at is covenant subscriptions, and the fact that I feel like that title of the offering brings a lot of baggage with it. Yeah. When you first hear about a subscription, it's is it a monthly fee?
Monthly.
I've got to sign in, I've got a contract I've got to deal with, et cetera. So I was looking at ways that we could maybe rebrand that, and we started talking about it as a group, and automatic pre-orders or preferred pre-orders, these kinds of things. And so my question is, when you learned about covenant subscriptions, assuming that you have, and if you haven't, this is the first time, What was your immediate impression of what it was? And when did that impression change and why? So tell me the journey of like, what were your original thoughts about, oh, this is what covenant descriptions means, and then did that get corrected to the accurate view? And if so, what was the piece of content or writing or information that did that for you? I would love to know that. And thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We will be back next week. Till then, keep playing.